Right, hello and welcome to this Warno Dev Diary. This is Southag's division, the first Luftlanding division for West Germany. This is the 10th German division because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Germany got loads of divisions in this game already, and this will be number 10. So I'm sure the Germans are happy about that. So yeah, We'll just go through it. I'm a bit out of practice. I've had to restart the intro of this multiple times. Maybe I'll put them all in the outro or something. I mean, I don't really see the point. Anyway, so if you want to skip to like the actual meat of it, just check the timestamps in the description. It's just basically Orange Man dismantled the Department of Education, and now like a third of my audience can't read anymore. So they demand that I read it out for them. It's a bit of a worrying trend, but what can you do? So NATO's West German First Luftlanding Division's history. All right, is that first Luftlander Division? We'll do our best here. My German lessons were 12 years ago. I did get an A star, but Danish apparently. German.
Luftlandedivision.
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 Luftlandedivision. So, hello and welcome to this Luftlandedivision, or the First Air Landing Division, was raised in 1956, a year after the Bundeswehr's founding. At first, only 2 airborne brigades were used, but by 1970, a 3rd brigade was added, and here we've got some happy soldiers of the first Luftlandedivision. Organized as a division with 3 brigades and an artillery regiment, the 1st Luftlandedivision's combat units were redistributed as reserves among the 3 main West German field commands. What? The first corps with Northag, the 3rd corps with Centag, and the 2nd corps with Southag. Southag doesn't actually exist in real life, by the way. The French dismantled it, and then they withdrew their forces to just outside the French border, so they were still in German territory. And they said, well, look, if the Soviets make it this far, we're just going to nuke Germany. But in this game, because it's made in France, France are the good guys, and they've still got Southag, and they're still doing their part. And so I guess these guys are going to be part of Southag. This left its divisional HQ and only partially active artillery regiment as administrative formations. It was quickly realised that these dispersed brigades were rather light, best used on the defensive due to their limited number of soldiers and firepower. This also led, turning to the end of the Cold War, to the Bundeswehr envisioning a different, more active role for the first Luftlandedivision. Although one of its brigades, the 27 Luftlander Brigade, is that brigade or brigade? We'll find out now. I'm relearning my German.
Luftlandebrigade.
Brigade, there you go. Oh, I've done it again. Would be kept separate and positioned in Northag. The Air Landing Division would regain control over its 2 more southern located brigades. Interesting, okay. And here are some more Luftlandedivisioners with their MG3s and their G3s and so on. These formations would operate in Bavaria, in a theatre of war particularly well suited for light infantry, defending the mountainous and wooded regions near the West German border with Czechoslovakia and Austria. The first Luftlandedivision was further bolstered by the addition of the Gebirgsjäger Brigade 23.
Gebirgsjägerbrigade.
Gebirgsjäger Brigade 23, and 1 armoured recon company, courtesy of the 1st Gebirgsdivision. On top of that, a territorial brigade, the Heimatschutzbrigade 56, that would be 56, right?
56.
Oh, I've still got it. Would also join the division's ranks. This latter formation was rather powerful, closer to a regular Panzer Grenadier Brigade than a rabble of reservists and local militia. And here we've got what looks like a Marder, right? The smoke. And I'm not sure what's going on back there. They're just building chimneys or something. Not sure what tank that is, actually.
Might be an M40A or something. It's kind of hard to tell.
Oh yeah, they're probably Leopard 1s, right? Well, I don't know really. Anyway, the first Luftlandedivision in Warno's history. So this is like, what is that? 8 minutes, 8:20, 8:20 law. In Warno's scenario, the Sentag assigned Reserve 25th Luftlandedivision Brigade will aid the 2 Panzergrenadier-Division, as is depicted in this playable division, as well as Army General. This means it is not available to the 1st Luftlandedivision. Instead, our newest battle group will feature 1 airborne, 1 mountain, and 1 mechanized infantry brigade. Okay, so that sounds very strong. Particularly in 1v1, what matters is variety. You only need a little bit of forward deployment in 1v1, and then you can... I don't know what mountain means, but 1 mechanized infantry means it's sounding a lot more like... like 2nd Panzergrenadier, really, because they've got FS Jaeger. A rather unique ratio of troops, which will be reflected within Warno Southag. 1/3 of its troops will feature the airborne trait. These stem from the single airborne brigade. 1/3 mechanized infantry and units. I mean, alright, whatever. Although part of the Heimatschutzbrigade 56, and that is the... I know that's B. Can't remember what how the other letters go.
HSB.
HSB. 56. These troops will not be considered reservists. Of course they won't. This particular territorial brigade was a cut above the rest in terms of training and equipment, and instead will be represented as regular units with locked veterancy. 1/3 the mountain troops will feature the new mountaineer trait, very exciting. These represent the Gebirgsjägerbrigade 23.
23.
Yep. These light units will have less to no movement penalty in rugged terrain, such as forests. This new trait will be retrofitted to existing units such as the British Gurkhas, that's good, and Soviet Afghansky, which are already cracked, so that'll be interesting. Might as well show you those while we're here. I mean, otherwise, what's the point in this video? So, Gurkha rifles, right? So 85 points is quite steep, but they are 12 men. They've got 3 machine guns, a Lore 80, Resolute. They used to be 100, by the way. So this will now be Mountaineer, and presumably this will also become Mountaineer. These having Sterlings is really bad because the Sterling's like absolutely trash, and only having 4 HP. So yeah, these guys only having 4 rounds on their Lore 80 is really kind of crazy when you compare them to like Green Berets ODA or something, who have 8 and 14 men. So he's got 4 with 12 men. Anyway, so they'll get this Mountaineer trait, which will make them no movement penalty in forests, which is actually a pretty big deal because I believe the movement penalty in forests is like 50%. And so, actually we can look that up on waryes.com. That's what we're here for, right? We're here to analyze. Okay, we're here to spell. Forest speed 8. Okay, so it's 75% speed in forests, which means that these guys will be able to engage and disengage quite quickly, as will these Gebirgsjäger Brigade. Gebirgsjäger Brigade, because this is a umlaut, which is why it's Jäger as Jaeger as opposed to Jager, which would be without the umlaut, which I shall now prove to me, but you know.
Jäger.
Jaeger.
Jager.
There you go. And yeah, British Gurkhas and Soviet Afghansky. So these guys will presumably get Mountaineer. The question is, will this get Mountaineer? Because if it does, it's going to become quite a funny unit. Because I mean, it should really. It's a Gurkha, right? And it gets Resolute like the Gurkhas. But yeah, then it's going to go very fast in the forest. It's actually going to be really funny. Look, 90, 36. It's literally a what is that as a is that done as a percentage or are these manually assigned? Just 40% speed of vehicles in forests. Let's look at something else. BRDM 2 maybe. 3485, 3485 is 40%. So, I mean, it's going to get a lot faster. Hopefully they do. Hopefully they do give it the mountaineer trait. That would make it very, very funny. That would be a complete ball ache to deal with. Mate, if this is driving away from you at 90 kilometers an hour in a forest, you're never catching it. Anyway, Afghansky are the other ones, and they'll benefit a lot more from this. There are two Afghansky. I don't know. Could you imagine if the I mean, it's only 40 kilometers an hour anyway, but yeah, give that the mountaineer trait. Watch that thing go through the forests. Nyom. Anyway, so the ones with RPOs are going to be pretty lit because they'll fire all their RPOs and then they'll run away, and you'll literally never be able to catch them. They'll just rock up, fire the RPOs, run away, and they'll always be faster than you. So that is pretty funny. And then special forces go faster as well. I don't think there are. I mean, as you can see, these aren't special forces, and neither are the Gurkhas. So it would be pretty funny if you could get special forces mountaineers because they would go super duper fast through the forests. That would be very funny. Anyway, so I guess that's the Gebirgsjäger Brigade 23 logo, and this is the right, so here we are. We finally made it to the first tab. What was that for? 1450 Logi. So, NATO's first Luftlandedivision in Warno-Southag. What can you expect from the first Luftlandedivision in Warno-Southag? New units are both italic and bolded. All of the following. Well, I suppose this is also grammatically correct, is subject to change. Also, if you skip to this part, we did just speak a lot about the new Mountaineer trait, which is quite interesting, so you should probably go back and watch that. So, logistics. The logistics department is better than other comparable airborne divisions in terms of slots and their price. This is due to the first Luftlander Division being only partially airborne. Plus, it was pre-positioned with close supply lines to the battlefields the battle group would be fighting on. Like other Warno airborne divisions, it doesn't receive an fob. Sorry, I mean, obviously their English is a lot better than my French. Its supply units are airliftable Cracker Mun and the light Unimog S404 Mun, which is allegedly airliftable now, and the medium new TYP 1017 Mun. This is short for Munition. Munition. Supply vehicles, plus the CH 53 gay munition helicopter. I'm pretty sure that's actually how they say G, you know.
CH-53G.
Yeah, it had a minus there, but
CH-53G.
yeah, there you go. So yeah, the command units are FS Führungs Iltis and M577GA2. So let's start at the beginning here. So Cracker munitions. This is already an MBAD, right? And it's a total rubbish munition. The only reason to ever bring it was that you could bring it with 20 helicopters. It was pretty lit, and you would just drop 20 helicopters on the map at the start in 10v10, and then just find the enemy's base. That got removed because it was dumb. I mean, it was pretty dumb. So yeah, all supply cards have 6,000 in a card. It's just this is somewhat suboptimal because 20 points for 300 supply, whereas this is 25 for 500, and they're basically the same speed. There's not much of an advantage to this, except it has the airliftable trait, which means it can be transported by helicopters, featuring the airlifter trait. And this should be one such helicopter, but I guess not. Trying to think now. Where would it be? Here we go. So this one without supply is apparently an airliftable helicopter. Okay, I'm sort of clipping through the ceiling beams there. So yeah, the weird part is that it said that the Unimog Oh, airliftable cracker munitions, light unimogs. Okay, so this is a really decent supply card, just because of the cost-to-weight ratio of it. It's not this one, it's the one in 2nd Panzergren. The cost-to-weight ratio of it's really good. 25 points for 500 supply is pretty lit. Just a really nice, cheap, cheerful supply. Get 12 of them, so if they die, it's no biggie, and they're not that expensive. And they carry quite a bit of supply. Obviously, this is more cost efficient, right? And then it says my entire computer is going to freeze for 2 seconds. And the medium new TYP 1017 munition, which is presumably this, but let's just double check. Ah, interesting. Yeah, I mean it is. Well, that is just from this. So there it is, right? I mean it is the same thing as you can see. Looks like it can also shoot things. That's cool if they've got a variant like that. So basically, how much supply will this have? It says medium, so it could be anything really. Like this is probably what you would class as heavy supply. 2,000 supply, 60 points. Medium might be more like Bedford level. So Bedfords are 40 points for 1,000 supply. That's medium in my eyes, right? Or you get the TRM 1,000, like the TRM 2,000, which is 750 for 30 points. It's probably going to be like Bedford level, I would assume, or TRM 2,000 level. So yeah, 750 or 1,000 supply, and the supply munitions helicopter, which we just saw in embed. So this thing, useful in team games. In 1v1 it can work, it's just people always see it coming in, so it'd be much easier to just buy the... Like, in 1v1 you would want a card of these and 2 cards of these, or 2 cards of this and a card of this. You don't really want to bother with Helo supply in 1v1. You can still use it, and then these are just like you bring them if you can't bring anything else. So given that, so it might just be that you only get 1 card of this and you only get 1 card of this, so if you want a 3rd card of supply, you're forced to bring the munitions helicopter. This is really not very good. Then the FS Führungs Iltis and the M77 GA2. So the FS Führungs Filtis here, FS Führungs Iltis, here it is, so that is 2 per card, 90 points, forward deployed car, right? It's sort of like the Belgian one. It's also got like really low fuel with high autonomy, which means that it's actually extremely fuel efficient, which doesn't really matter too much, but it means you can resupply its fuel for very little supply, which is very useful. Whereas the British ones have like 300 liters with the same autonomy, which means their fuel efficiency is 3.5 times worse, something like that. 3 times worse minimum. Yeah, it's more like 3.5. Anyway, so yeah, that's that one. And then the M77 we've seen around. So this thing, there's like loads of discrepancies between these. So this one's 40 points and it's got 1 armor and 50 speed. This one's 40 points and it's got 55 speed and 1 armor. And this one's 45 points and it's got 55 speed and 1 armor. And they're all the same vehicle. It's just like, you know, maybe this bag... This part here is slowing them down, maybe, you know. No, that's there as well. I mean, what's the difference, really? They're all the same. They're just reskins. So yeah, it will just be this one, because this is the German one, so 45 points more than the other 2 for no good reason. But faster, right? The Dutch one is obviously the fast and cheap, whereas this is fast and expensive, and this is slow and cheap. So, yeah, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So that's it for the Logi tab. Moving into the Infantry tab at tab. As can be expected from a light airborne mechanized infantry division, this category is excellent in terms of the number of slots and their price. Right, so basically there's been this kind of big hoo-ha. It was like sort of a storm in a teacup. Basically, they keep saying this slot is good and then talking about how it's got loads of reservist rubbish. And what it meant by good is that the slots and their price are good, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that what's in it is good. Although having said that, it looks like what's in it is good. I haven't read this story before, so, you know, I'm just looking at how big it is. Let's start with the usual suspects with some new variants. The ubiquitous Panzer Grenadier. It comes in Command, IFV, and APC variants, and represents the HSB 56. As such, they are veterancy locked, presumably Vet 0. These squads are deployable in the Unimog, the M113GA1, or the new Marder 1A1 or Marder 1A1A Milan. So what is different with the Marder 1A1? So we've got the... So first of all, Panzer Grenadier, everybody's seen these before. So basically, absolutely cracked squad for 35 points. Decent rocket launcher. The DMR is like 2 machine guns, so it's like it's got 3 machine guns, which is like it's got 10 rifles for 35 points and 6 men. So very strong squad. Having them vet locked at 0 does reduce their utility somewhat. Being 0 vet is pretty rubbish in this game because it takes 7 minutes for a unit to go from no cohesion to full cohesion at 0 vet. And it takes 3 minutes at 1 vet, so it's really preferable to bring things at 1 vet. So these squads are going to run out of vet pretty fast. Now, Marder 1A1, right, so this is where it gets a little bit speculative. So the Marder 1A2 and the Marder 1A3, I'll just have Marder here so you can see them all. So the Marder 1A2 is less armored than the Marder 1A3. Now, from what I understand, the Marder 1A1 had like a gun on the back. I'm pretty sure it had a gun on the back. So, sorry, I always like to have like 2 buttons showing. I don't know. I think it makes sure that I'm always in the same place every time. It's total autism, really. So Marder 1A1, right? And it'll talk about the upgrades, presumably. So, Marder 1A1, dual feed for 20mm cannon, enabling choice of ammunition. Night vision equipment, which isn't modelled in this game because PAC doesn't get it, so NATO's night vision enhancement doesn't matter. And infantry capacity reduced to 5. Well, hang on. I mean... Is that right? Because if it is, then they're going to need... Right, sorry about the cut there. I'm not quite sure how much I missed out. So we were talking about the Panzer Grenadier and how it comes in all these vehicles, right? So you've just seen the Panzer Grenadier, but if we look at the Marder 1A1, it is 5 men. It says here, infantry capacity reduced to 5. So, I'm not sure what it means by that, because it never says it goes back up to 6. So this might just be wrong. I mean, that happens a lot, actually. But the idea is that these Panzer Grenadier, they might be 5 men. I doubt it, to tell you the truth. I think they're just going to be 6 and vet locked. I highly doubt they'll change it to 5. I assume they'll think this is a mistake. Anyway, so thermal imager, right? So that doesn't matter in this game, having night vision and thermal, because PAC didn't get those things, so they're not modelled. Obviously, if PAC did get those things, they would be modelled in the damage calculations, but we don't have that here. So, yeah, so the Marder 1 versus the Marder 1A2. So, the Marder 1A2 has better suspension, new sighting system... thermal images. Okay, so the Marder 1A1 might have less accuracy in terms of, you know, I could have sworn the Marder 1A1 had like a gun on the back, you know. Those are all Marder 1A3s. Anyway, it might have less armor. I doubt it. I think basically it's just going to be slower by the looks of things, and it might have less accuracy on the autocannon. So that might be what's going on. We'll see, right? I mean, it's not like they're in Steel Division 2, so there has to be a little bit of speculation here. And the Marder 1A1A Milan, right? So this is, well, hang on, did it talk about the 1A1A3? Hang on. As a 1A1A, as 1A1... but without passive night vision. And considering night vision doesn't matter in this game, it's just not going to make a difference. Basically, it's going to have a Milan on it. and so it'll be like this one versus this one. And presumably the gun will be a bit worse on the Marder 1A1 because of the sight system is different or something. We'll see if they can be bothered. A lot of these things are just standardized. Yeah, it'll have a Milan, so it'll be more useful. And if it's only 5 points more, well, you'll always bring that one. So the FS Jaeger are available in Command, Vanilla, and Pioneer versions, as well as the FS Jaeger Reservisten. Okay, so FS Jaeger in Command, Vanilla, and Pioneer versions, so they're all are already in the game, right? So this is your regular FS Jaeger, a bit overpriced for the price, for what you get. It's just because Second Panzergren is so overpowered. Some of their tools were just made expensive. So FS Pioneer, so as you can see, they're 2 more men, and they literally cost 15 points less. So yeah, that's something to think about. So those two we're going to see again, and it talks about the CV. There's the CV, so 6 men with a smoke. So we've seen those before. Then it says FS Jaeger Reservisten, which will deploy veterancy locked but without the reservist trait and equipped with Carl Gustav recoilless rifles and serve the Panzerfaust 3. These squads all have the forward deploy trait and ride to battle in soft-skin vehicles. So FS Jaeger Reservisten. So FS Jaeger Pioneers are 10, which I think they just sort of made up. I think they should be 8-man squads, because that's also 8, right? Yeah. So it'll probably be an 8-man squad, and it'll be vet locked, so it'll be like Terriers on the first UK, basically. So Terrier Paras. So like, look, these guys are forward deployed. This is like a hilariously cost-ineffective. It would be a lot like this, actually. It'll probably be almost exactly like this, except this will be an MG3, which has identical stats to this. And these will be G3s instead of L1A1s, which have identical stats to this. So there you go. There's your reservist and whatever. Support weapons include the MG3 in regular and para versions, as well as Milan 1, veterancy locked, Milan 2, and FS Milan 2 ATGM team. So we've seen these, right? So MG3, right? So there's your MG3. It's just standardized, they're all the same. And then here's the same one, but para, so it's 5 points more. And then in terms of the availabilities, it's so look, 12-7, which is interesting, given that all the other ones are 12-8. Right, that's probably a bug. 12-8, 12-8, 12-7. Germany moment. Oh, this is a 2-vet. Yeah, and then the other stats are all... What? I'm looking at the same thing twice. Yeah, they're the same. The MG3 used to be better, and then they fixed it, so now it's the same as all the other ones. And, yeah, so Milan 1 and Milan 2 and FS Milan 2. Well, you've seen all these before, right? So, trying to find the German Milan ones, just so I can show you those. This is sort of a total pain in the neck. Like, so it's very difficult to like deselect them. What the heck? What? Right, okay. There's your Milan 1, and this will be vet locked at vet 0, and you shouldn't be upvetting it anyway, so that's fine. There's your Milan 2. Although, you know, if it comes in the Fox Milan, you could make a case for it, but whatever. Yeah, Milan 1, Milan 2, FS Milan 2. So they're already in the game. Sicherungs in the Unimog, and Feldjäger in their dedicated TYP. I can't remember. It was like 181. 181. That's my final guess.
181.
It was 80.
181.
Okay, well, I was right the first time, I guess. Anyway, they get a military police vehicle, which is pretty good. Although Type 181 is this. No, that's different. Okay, what is a Type 181? Oh, cool. Okay, so they're getting a proper military police vehicle, so that's really going to help the division out. Although I know they were going to rework the reservist trait, right? That was in a previous dev diary that I didn't read out. I don't see the point in going back and doing the old ones. Maybe if there's sufficient demand, but I've missed the boat, right? So you're going to get one of these, and it's going to be military police. And there's a man waving. That looks pretty cool. Hopefully it's the one with the top down. Probably won't be though. I know fun isn't allowed at Eugen Systems. Um, and the VWT3 failed Jaeger bus. So they're getting two military police vehicles. It would be nice if they backported one of these to TKS, because TKS, the German div, really, really, really suffers from ISAF. Oh, okay. Um, do they still exist? No. Okay. um, TKS really, really suffers from a lack of military police vehicle, and these guys are getting two. So it would be cool to backport one of those. In terms of Zickerungs, you've seen those before. They're just an 11-man squad, which used to be really cost efficient, but now isn't so much. But they're just 11 men, and basically when they're stood still, they get good optics. So you just use them as like meat shield infantry. They're not particularly cost efficient anymore, and they can't shoot so well on the move. Like this wouldn't shoot, and 7.62 rifles have very poor fire on the move capacity. So they're not that useful in their role. It's easier to just spam Panzergrenadiers, sorry. So, but yeah, they're there and they might be useful. It depends, right? Right, so that's it for the stuff we've seen before, with the exception of the Marder 1A1, which we'll figure out. To be followed by new infantry, the Bundeswehr's Gebirgsjäger. These come in various shapes and sizes, but all with the new Mountaineer trait, which we spoke about earlier, but basically it means it goes faster through forests. That's basically it, because there is no specific mountain climbing thing. There's certain places that units just can't go up certain mountains. So maybe they'll be able to go up that. I'd be very surprised, to tell you the truth. I reckon it's just going to be faster in the forest. So we've got Gebirgsjäger Führer, who are 4-man command squads with a G3, Carl Gustav and Smoke. They can deploy in an Iltis and a helicopter. And they're not forward deployed. So 4-man with G3, Carl Gustav and Smoke. If they're 2 availability, then that is, which they probably will be, then that's not that great, to tell you the truth. But it's like, this is 5 men, this is 5 men, this is 10 men, this is 6 men with Smoke. So it'll probably, I mean, but this is forward deployed, so who knows how much it's going to cost, really. But yeah, it's got a Carl Gustav and it's got Smoke, so that's fairly decent, to be honest. Depends how much it costs. If it's 3 availability, it'd be great, but I don't think it will be. Gebirgsjäger are 11 men rifle squads with a G3, 1 scoped G3, 1 MG3, and a Panzerfaust 44. They come in Type 1017 trucks or a helicopter, so that's very powerful. So that's the thing from before, right? It's just not the supply version. So it'll probably be 90 kilometers an hour off-road speed, like a Bedford. That's sort of what I assume it's just going to be, like a Bedford. So something like that. 8 HP, that's my assumption. This is going to be a very strong squad. So 11 men with G3, Scope G3, MG. So it reminds me a lot of Chasseurs on French. Not these guys. Voltigeurs, right? Voltigeurs. So this is 10 men with a comparable rocket launcher. It's a bit better. And a DMR and a machine gun and a bunch of rifles, right? And they're 60 points. So these guys and their Mountaineers will probably be 65 because they're 11 men. They've got G3s, a DMR, a 1 machine gun, and Panzerfaust 44. So the DMRs all have the same stats. Although, alternatively, they're classed as a sniper, which gets 1-250 range, but that's not the case for a Scope G3 because we've already got Scope G3s on Panzergrenadier, right? There you go. And you can see the stats are the same for the machine guns, the stats are the same for the snipers, right? And the rocket launchers are comparable. So, you know, it's sort of a mix between these two squads, but it'll have one more guy and this mountaineer trait, which means they go fast through forests. And clearly I should have been executed as a child. 65 points is probably what it's going to be. Gebirts Pioneer are 10 men combat engineer squads with a G3, MG3, and explosives. They come in the same truck. So this is going to be like regular pioneers. Pioneer. There it is. So these are 10 men, 50 points. No mountainous, right? But what is this going to be? This is also going to be... Well, why not make it 11? Why not make it 11? Why have it be exactly the same as what already exists? If this is 11, why not make it 11? Anyway, so that is going to be exactly like this, except with the Pioneer trait. So it'll probably cost 5 points more, or it might even be the same price. How much value do you put on being able to move fast through forest? I actually put a lot of value on that when you're a satchel squad that wants to close range. Hell yes, I want to be 25% faster in the forest, or 33% faster really, because it goes from 18 to 24. So yeah, it might be 55 points. Or it might just stay 50 and be better than everybody else. Certainly a possibility. And Luftgebirtsjäger, the name was chosen to represent their role, are bigger half-platoon squads as found in comparable Warno divisions, to better fit inside the large helicopters. In this case, a single card of 16 man with one G3, one Scope G3, two MG3s, and a Carl Gustav, and they only come in that heavy helicopter that we've seen on Embad and so on in the Logi tab. 16 men is unheard of. I know some of these other dev diaries, which I didn't bother reading out, had like 16-man squads on the checks or something. But 16 men is absolutely crazy. So yeah, they're going to fight with the strength of, so 16, 15, 14, 13. So 13 rifles plus, you know, so the Scope G3 is like 2 machine guns. So that's like having 4 machine guns, which is like having 8 rifles. So 13 plus 8 is 21, quick maths. They're going to fight with the strength of 21 men. And they're going to have a Carl Gustav. So you can't use vehicles against them. So, depending on where they are. So this is going to be very, very powerful. What does it mean by a single car? Well, you know, it depends on the availability, right? So we've got already quite a few things like this unpacked. So the Dush RPG-22 are 14 guys, right? And they've got a worse rocket launcher, no DMR, and they're 85 points. So this squad should be at least, and they're going to be Mountaineer and whatnot, it should be like 100 points. You'll also note that these have 8 RPGs, whereas the Gurkha rifles were British, have 4. Anyway, so they're probably going to have additional ammo for the Carl Gustav, although we'll see. That's not a disposable one; it's a reloadable one. And yeah, they're gonna cost like probably about 100 points would be fair for them, right? Because you got to think like who else is like this? Green Berets ODA, who are 14 men. Right, and they've got 2 machine guns and 1 DMR, right? And they've got AT4s, which are, you know, better than a Carl Gustav because they've got 8 of them and whatnot. So, and they are special forces though. So I think lose the special forces, gain 2 men, and you should probably still be 100 points. 100 or 95 points. It sounds really powerful. The next question is how many of them are you going to get? So if you look at, because this had 1 card, right? But so if you look at RPG-22, this is just, you get 7 of them at 1 vet and 5 at 2 vet, which is crazy. The question is, will Mountaineers get the free rank of veterancy that Airborne get? Because as you've seen, Airborne, even if they're not actually Airborne, get a free rank of veterancy. So, will you be able to bring 5 at 2 vet? Will it be a super squad? I mean, it should be, otherwise it's not really fair on NATO if Pact gets this stuff and NATO doesn't, but you know, we've seen how that goes, right? So you might get 5, you might get 7, or it might be 101st Airborne, where you get nothing, you lose. Good day, sir. So look, 13 men, and these are 7-5. Okay, fair enough. But like the Green Berets ODA are 3-2. But they are special forces, and so something like these guys, 13 men, 100 points, 4-2. They are recon. So yeah, it'll probably be like 7-5, or it might be 7-5. You know, 7 at no vet, 5 at 1 vet, or something. And it'll probably be about 100 points. Wow, I love it how my entire game freezes every time I alt tab out of this since the last patch, and they told me that it's an NVIDIA driver issue even though I'm on AMD. The new Hochgebirgsjäger are the creme de la creme of Gebirgstruppen, a single card of an 11-man commando squad with G3s, 1 scope G3, 2 MG3s, and explosives. This unit also fields the Airborne, Shock, and Special Forces traits and deploys in the truck. Okay, so they're gonna be like this. So they're probably gonna be like 3-2 availability, or it might be 4-2 or something, right? They're 11 men, and they've got satchels instead of AT4, so they should probably be a little bit cheaper than this. They should probably be like 90 points. But yeah, we're stepping into unknown territory. These squads have no analogy, right? We could look at commandos that the French get. That's probably... I can't remember if they're 10 or 8. So commandos, yeah, 10 with 2 machine guns but no DMR. And there's 65, which is like cheaper than everybody else's comparable units but France, you know? So yeah, it could be anything. You're welcome for this tactical analysis, right? It just depends who they're basing the unit off. It could be, if it's the French model, then they'll cost like 70 points. But yeah, having DMRs and satchels is a bit counterproductive, but what can you do? It's going to be a fun squad to use regardless. Right, so that brings us to the artillery tab. I did want to do these a bit faster, but an average category in terms of slots and their costs. See, they're going to clarify every time now. That's fair enough, really. I do think it was kind of dumb how they were writing it before, where they were saying an above-average category, and then they would just list how rubbish it was. Mortars are available in the Mrs. Tampella 120mm in both regular and Fallschirmjäger variants, plus the Panzer Panzer Mercer or Panzer Morser from the HSB 56. I'm having to reach 12 years back into my mind for my German lessons.
Panzermorser. Panzermörser. Panzermörser.
That's anti-tank mortar, interesting.
Panzermörser.
Okay, Panzer Morser. And if it would be Mörser if it had the umlaut. Okay. So, you know, we've seen these before, right? I don't know if about the Fallschirmjäger variant. We probably have on MBAD. Yeah, there it is. So it's 120mm. It's alright. They've still got this bug in the game where all the mortars of this caliber just have a red thing there for no particular reason. But, you know, it's a lot easier to make new DLC than it is to fix what's already in the game. And, yeah, so they're Air Mobile 1, right, you pay 5 points more and it starts further forwards, but it's the same apart from that. I believe they're both for availability. We'll just check quickly because that's sort of why I'm here. Although you can probably guess how much I want to be. So yeah, that's 421, and then this is 4-2. Okay, and it's got a rank of veterancy, so that's nice. Free vet, shoots a bit faster, right? Well, I say it's free, it's 5 points more. Howitzers featured include the ubiquitous FH 155-1 155 Millimeter.
FH 155 bis 1155 mm.
Right, well, you're regarded because there's clearly a space there. You
FH 155 bis 1155 mm. FH 155.155 mm.
whatever. So yeah, these have also been in the game, right? So that's on second Panzergren. It actually shoots faster than the M109, which is kind of weird. It just seems to have better stats than the M109. I'm not sure why, if that's on purpose or what, but it does actually reload a bit faster. So some people prefer the towed one. And then if you look at like 155 mils by caliber, right? So they're all sort of stat clones of each other, but the American one's 5 points cheaper because American industry or something. I don't know. But whereas the Dutch one is just worse. The Dutch one is just worse. It's got worse everything, and it costs the same as the American one. So yeah, it's going to be like this, and you're going to get at least two of them in a card. Well, you're going to get two in a card, and presumably you're going to get... Oh, I love freezing constantly. I love because people always complain in the comments section, "Oh, freezing." I can't do anything about it. They broke their game, and they want to blame the video. A few new FS 56, M56 100 und 150 Millimeter. Get me out. Make it stop.
FSM 56.105 mm.
105, okay, millimeter. Yeah, I was roughly right. Obviously, it seems to think that there's like, something going on here.
FSM 56. 105 mm.
There we go, yeah. And this is new. It's Italian-made howitzers, widely used in NATO armies of the 1970s, specifically by airborne or mountain troops. This artillery comes with the airborne trait and can fire both HE and heat rounds, so that'll be probably fairly similar to what's in the French division. Or none of these guys have... Yeah, so it'll be like this, presumably. Although it'll probably be better, because this just has like wacky low range compared to the other 105s, which have much better range. It'll probably be more like the L118, except it'll be forward deployed, right, which means it won't be coming in a helicopter, presumably. And although it would be cool if it did, actually. And yeah, it'll probably have a heat round that is not very good, and although it does say HE as well, so I do wonder if... Because, like, surely you could fire a HE round in direct fire capacity, whereas I guess they just don't have that. Can't be bothered with that. But anyway, that's probably what it's going to look like. 4 of it, 4-3 availability, something like that. And the HSB 53 M109G.
M109G.
Yeah, I've still got it. I got an A star, by the way. Is an older, short-barreled variant of this classic SPG. With less range than its more modern counterparts. Oh, it's an M109 howitzer. It's an M109. So it's like this. Except it's going to be worse somehow. It's not going to shoot as far, apparently. It says shorter barrel, so presumably it's still going to fire the same caliber round. So it'll have less range. Okay. Well... Oh, I see what it means. Right, so the German one is better than everybody else's, because it just is, and you should accept that. Like, look, so it's just got more range. So presumably, the German one is gonna be like this, except this has smoke, actually. So is the Dutch one, interesting. Belgian one doesn't, haha. Costs the same, by the way. Anyway, so yeah, it's just going to be like this compared to this, because it doesn't have the FH... FH... Ziebzin? 70.
70.
70. Zin is like 70. Yeah.
17.
Yeah, my bad. 70.
70.
70. Anyway, it's going to be the American one, as opposed to the German one. Although I don't know, because this is an A2, so maybe it'll be even worse. Maybe it'll have an even lower range, like 10 kilometers or something. Who knows? Anyway, there you've got a lovely... Presumably this is the FSM 56 105 Millimeter. Presumably. Which does actually look a lot like the Belgian one. Oh, whatever. Right, so that brings us to the tank category. So what I will say is, if you made it this far into the video, then it's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get the names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos at a rate of 1 per week. So basically, I'm unemployed. I'm trying to finish off a PhD. They stopped paying me because I took too long. And so this is my sole source of income. And if we can grow the channel about 50%, then I can afford to live. Right now I'm currently cutting through my savings, but we're almost there, actually. I mean, 50% is not that much. Buy like subscribers and stuff. But yeah, I do appreciate you watching the videos. And if you do appreciate this, let me know, because I find this kind of boring. I'd rather just play a game and do some shooty, click really fast, whereas this is a lot more cerebral. And that's not something I'm very good at, hence why the PhD isn't finished. So yeah, if you do appreciate it, then please do let me know that you appreciate it. Obviously, I've not done one of these in a while, and if it doesn't do well, then I will continue to not do them. Anyway, we're in the tank category. So, the first Luftlandedivision's main battle tank is the HSB 56 Leopard. How did they say it?
Leopard.
Yeah, Leopard. Ein. Veterancy locked, but in command and vanilla variants. So this is so vet having them at 0 vet is not the greatest thing ever, but it doesn't matter too much because the tanks don't have too much armor, so it doesn't really matter if they anyway. So this is in 2nd and 5th. It's a pretty decent tank at the start of the game. It depends how many cards you get, but if you get a 9 per card, you're getting at least 9, right? The only issue is that the cohesion's going to be bad, and guess what you can do, right? You can put your military police vehicle with them, because that will increase their suppression regeneration. Incredible. Incredible gameplay. Such synergy. And there'll be a command variant as well, which will apparently be vet locked, but these always come at 1 vet, so we'll see. Right, but there you go, there's the command one. It's just the same, but it costs 25 points more for the commanderness, and it's got 1 vet. So yeah, you'll get at least 9 Leopard 1A1s, right, which is fine. And it says that there will also be access to 1 single card of Leopard 1A1A2, which were used by the Gebirgsjägerbrigade 23 anti-tank units in place of the Jaguar. While the 2 above tanks share the same gun, the latter will use better ammunition and won't be vet locked. So the Leopard 1A1A2 will probably deal 18 pen, because so this is 16 at that range, which means it would be 18 at 1925, which means the 1A1A2 will have 18 pen at 1925 meters range, and it won't be vet locked. And the fact that they say there will also be access to 1 single card of Leopard 1A1A2, whereas this is the main battle tank, makes me think that you've got at least 2 cards of this. So you're going to be rocking a lot of Leopard 1s, and some of them will be useful. They're all good. They're all good at the start of the game, really, I think. Anyway, oh, there's a bird outside my window. I hope it doesn't poop everywhere like the last one did. I've got this, like, big poop stain on my window. I mean, like, I wish they'd clean up after themselves, you know? Not like these guys that don't have jobs and just sit around making YouTube videos all day. Honestly. Wish they'd just... Society needs to clean these people up. Um, uh, in the same fashion, the HSB 56 used some M48 A2 in place of the Kajapa. What the hell is a Kajapa? Well, that hasn't been. Has that been mentioned before? What is a Kajapa? It is a Kanonenjagdpanzer. Okay. Anyway, we need to make sure I was right here. I gotta make it interesting for myself.
M48 A2 Gar2.
M48. Did I say 40? 40 A2 G A2.
M48 A2 Gar2.
Okay. These vehicles will be vet locked. Like, what the hell? That must be. Yeah, it's a Kanj PZ, basically. But they call it a. Yeah. So, Kanj. It's this thing. Which they said they don't get, so we don't have to talk about it. M48 A2 GA2 will be vet locked, but without the reservist trait. TK sure is suffering. This means they will differ from the previous tank model, which we renamed Heimat M48 A2 GA2 last week. Alright, was there some more Germans last week? I haven't been keeping up. Like I said, I haven't done any of these in a while. So this is already in TKS anyway, so, you know, it's not really a new unit. But yeah, it'll be this without reservist, so it'll cost 75 points, presumably. And it'll actually be decently useful. The main advantage of it in TKS, oh, there isn't one, is that you get quite a lot of them. But actually you don't. So keep in mind, right? Oh dear. Oh, I'm about to speak. I'm noticing some trends in the gaming community, you know, like how the T55A for 10 points more gets Resolute instead of Reservist, 1 more armor. But it does get less pen, actually. It's kind of weird, though, that... yeah, it's actually not such a bad comparison anymore. Every single not stabilized thing in this game still gets like a 5% stabilizer accuracy, so that they can still aim on the move, so that's a 9% or whatever, but they always get like a 5% hit, and this is the only tank in the game that doesn't. So like even the one on, well, yeah, okay, so the American one doesn't either, but all the rest get like 5% stabilizers. You know, so they can still shoot. They can still aim, right? So the T-34 apparently, or 10%. I think it's 10% usually. So the T-34 apparently has a better stabilizer than the... more fire on the move capacity than the M48. So anyway. As for missile tank destroyers, this division can count on a card each of Jaguar 2, very, very useful. Cracker Milan 2, decently useful, and Cracker Ito, the latter two available in airlift versions. So you'll be able to bring these in the chug thing. So these are all like not new at all. So the Jaguar 2 is really useful because it's got TOW 2 on it and it's got 6 armor. So the enemy hits you and you're just like, okay, and what? And then your TOW 2 still hits him. And then you smoke and leave. And he's been hit by TOW 2. So either he's not there anymore or he's a heavy tank that can no longer function because he's lost half his HP and he has to go repair. So yeah, this is really, really, really useful. The Cracker Milan 2 and Cracker Itos, from what I remember, I've... okay, so we haven't actually seen a Cracker Milan 2 yet, so that is brand new. So that should be in... oh, it is in bold and italics. So, yeah, the Cracker Ito, it's got good stealth, which is the main advantage, and it carries 5, whereas, like, so a regular Iltis Milan 2, which the Germans do get, although that is the Belgian one. Do they get it? Well, they get the Milan one. Okay, whatever. Anyway, it'll have 1 more round. But it'll be slower. But it'll be airliftable. So, like, why it costs 60 points, who knows? And it'll be slower on the road, apparently. Because look at it. Anyway, there it is. I'd be as happy as this guy if I was issued this equipment as well. So now we get to the Recon tab. I'm sorry for yapping for so long. These things always take ages, which is sort of why I don't like doing them. Right, so the Recon tab, a pretty good category. Recon-based infantry includes Itching My Face, FS-Jäger Aufklärer Scout, and FS-Jäger B1 Recon Commando, so one fewer reason to take TKS. This is literally just TKS, but better, by the way. You get IFVs unlike TKS, and you get forward deployed like TKS. You get these tanks, but without reservists, so they're like the TKS ones, but better. You get Leopard 1s, unlike TKS. You do get worse artillery, but nobody cares. Actually, have we even made it that far? Yeah, we just talked about that, right? Yeah. No, you get M109s, and you get 155 toads. You're fine on artillery. Yeah, TKS is just a really bad div. And you get Jaguar 2s unlike TKS. So, yeah, FS Jäger B1 are like basically the only good thing that TKS gets that nobody else gets. I mean, there are other things TKS gets that other people don't get, but they're not that good. This is a really good squad. So, Special Forces, Panzerfaust 3, Satchels, Airborne Forward Deployment, and Recon, and MP5. So, at close range, they obliterate people. Longer ranges, they've still got the LMG, but yeah, they would lose because their rifles can't. They don't have rifles. And the Panzerfaust 3, like, these guys are like the ultimate town fighting guys. Really, really useful. And they're airborne forward deployed, so very, very useful squad. And you get 5 of them at 2 vet, right? They are special forces. You get 3 at max vet. It's just that, so like you can bring them in a helo as well. So you've got airborne forward deployed helo attack squad for the start of the game. Very, very powerful. But you prefer to bring them in the ground, and you prefer to bring them at 2 vet because they're like your best squad. Sadly, this isn't a special forces transport, but yeah. Really, the only thing TKS has got going for it now is that it's got AMX 10 RCs over this other division that we're defining here. Because the tanks are crap, the artillery is basically the same. I mean, here it is. The M110s are decent, like, but and we spot also they've got Panzermosters in this other div. So yeah, you've just been power crept to death, TKS. I'm afraid you're just pointless now. Gebärtsjäger Scharfschütze. A 2-man sniper team with 2 scoped G3s coming in at Iltis or Crapper G3 Recon. Been yapping too much today. So FS Jäger Aufklärer we forgot to speak about. They're also in they're around, right? So they're just 50 points for in second Panzergren. So Panzerfaust 3 and other stuff. They're alright. There's no real reason to bring them if you get these, but they are cheaper, and they're cheap Panzerfaust 3s with exceptional stealth, so you can sort of be a total pain in the neck with this card. Gebert Scharfschütze. So basically there's 2 types of sniper unit in this game. Well, there's 3 if you count the 50 cal, but basically this is classed as a DMR, which means that it's got less range than an actual sniper. So the American snipers are the best because of the book, right? They've got 2 snipers, and you'll notice the one on the right on the left card one on the right has 1250 range. That's a proper sniper. The other ones have sniper rifle written on them, but are actually DMRs, which have less range, so they're less cool, less suppression, right? They might shoot a bit faster, but they got less accuracy, and the suppression's the killer, really. You hit some guys with these, they don't fly so good. But yeah, it's a new concept in that they've got 2 DMRs as opposed to 1 DMR and a SMG, or a DMR and a sniper, or a sniper and a rifle, which is what the British one gets. That's just a regular rifle. It's not actually. So you'll note that the L1A one is literally just a rifle because the G3A3 has more damage despite firing the same caliber. It is 3 times better, and its range becomes yellow even though it's the same range, and the accuracy becomes yellow even though it's actually higher. But it can't fire on the move. Yeah, this game sometimes. But yeah, let's make more DL. Why fix this when we can add all this crap to the top of your screen? Which honestly is nice, but it would be nice if they fixed the basic functionality of this game. I suppose it does keep me in a job. Did I shill yet? I think I did. Yeah, I shilled at 55 minutes. So it's been 12 minutes since I last shilled, 13 minutes, and, you know, I'm getting antsy. I need to shill, right? So yeah, 2 men and Cracker MG Dry. So I'm not sure if that already exists. I don't think it does. So there's this is just this thing with an MG3 on it, right? Obviously this would be nicer, but presumably it's going to have this kind of off-road speed, this kind of road speed. So it's actually going to be worse than the Otis because it'll be 90 instead of 100. So. And you want them to get there fast so that they can immediately get into stealth and not die. Gebirtsaufklärer. So a 10-man scout squad with 1 G3, 1 Scope G3, 1 MG3, a Panzerfaust 44 in the Type 1017, which we spoke about. The Fox, or the helicopter. Okay, so this is a Lux. No, this is a Fox, right? It's going to be... So it's going to be that, but it'll probably have mediocre stealth or good stealth. And it'll probably have good optics. You know, sort of like that. Right? So it'll probably cost 25 points or something. Yeah, it's cool. That's a new unit. And then Gebirgsjagdkommando. They do say it like that.
Jagdkommando.
Jagdkommando. I'll be back. An 11-man scout squad with a G3. One scope. Anyway, yeah, we didn't really finish talking about this. So the Jägeraufklärer are sort of they were the premier kind of, you know, I fight you recon that can fight. They went down from 11 to 9, and now you've got a 10-man. Why aren't they 11? I mean, what makes this 10? If all the Gebirtsjäger are supposed to be 11, although some are 16, why are the Pioneers 10? Why? I mean, 16, I guess that's because it's 2 squads, but 16 divided by 2 is 8. So why aren't they 22? Oh dear. Whatever. Yeah. Jagdkommando. So yeah, basically it's like this but better. 2 more men, right? With a DMR. DMR is like 2 machine guns, which is like 3 rifles, and they're also gonna have 2 more men, so 1 more regular rifles. So they're gonna fight with high strength because it'll be 9, it'll be 8. Hang on, how many machine guns have they got? 1. Okay, so oh yeah, because it's 10, not 11. So 8 rifles plus, you know, that's like 3 machine guns, which is like 6 rifles. So they're going to fight with a strength of 14 men, and they're a scout squad. So yeah, pretty decent.
Hello.
Oh, thank you, I do appreciate it.
Charak Pachkovsky subscribed to the channel.
My man Charak
Puskovsky?
My man whose name I can't pronounce correctly is probably going to unsubscribe after he sees that I can't pronounce his name. Even though it's literally just been said to me. Anyway, he heard the call. He was like, Hippie's not shilled. He's not shilled in over 10 minutes. So there we go. We got some shilling in there. Do please subscribe if you enjoy this content. Anyway, it's going to be like this but better. So it's going to cost more. It's probably going to be like 10 points more. It should be 15 really. It should be like 70. But we'll see. Jagdkommando. An 11-man scout squad with G3, scoped G3. I guess this is why this is 10. G3, scoped, MG3, and explosives. So this Pioneer is 11, and this Gebirtsjäger is 10, whereas this Gebirtsjäger is 11, and this Pioneer is 10. So I guess it's cool that they're different. I don't really care, to tell you the truth. It's good to have variety. And yeah, so they're going to be like FS Jaeger B1, except they're going to not have a Panzerfaust 3. They're not going to have any AT. So it could be that you don't actually bring the regular Pioneers, because you don't need them. Because you could bring these ones. Or you could do it the other way around. So it's pretty cool. And they'll have Recon deployed, right? Whereas the B1 are airborne, so... you might not need this squad, really, if you've got B1s with satchels and Pioneers with satchels, or it might be that you don't need the Pioneers, but I think I already made that point about 30 seconds ago. So, armoured recon vehicles are detached from the first, the Ein Gebirtsdivision, available only in a single card each. So we've got the Lux A1 and the new Aufklärer Leopard 1A5. So that's going to be interesting. An Aufklärer Leopard 1A5, that's going to be a total ball ache to fight. Although it should have bad stealth, right? So if you look at the M1A1 ACAV, right, that's got bad stealth like a regular tank. But if you look at the Razvedka BMP2, which is kind of broken, it has additional stealth over a regular BMP2 even. You know, it's this camo, right? This camo, bro. It just makes it, wow, incredible. You know, ignore the fact that this also has the same camo. It's just stealthier, bro. It's just stealthier, come on. But then if you look at the AMX-10RC, I mean, I don't know if there is no regular AMX-10RC, but this has mediocre stealth as a tank. So, oh, but is it a tank? So it's got wheels. I don't know. How many will you get? That's the big question, because there hasn't been a recon tank of this, like a recon light medium yet. There's the M1A1A cav, the Sublindes, which have low availability because they've got mediocre stealth and they're fast. It just makes it really annoying to fight. The M1A1A cav's just got 2 availability. The T64B1 has it's also 2-1, yeah. And the what's it called? The ACAVs on, right, yeah, so there's 2 of these, right? Also the Sheridan, which, okay, I mean, we might as well cover the Sheridan first before I forget it exists. So the Sheridan is technically a recon tank that is 6'4 for 80 points with smoke and 3 armor. I mean, that's why I didn't really want to think about it. Then we've got the ACAV in 35th, which is probably the closest analogy, actually, but is reservist. So that's 3-2, which is really not good. Because it's still 2 availability at 1 vet, which is like, come on. So it might have like 3-2 availability. Or it might be the ones in 6th, which have 6-4 availability and reservist. So I'm going for either 3-2, which I think is too low to tell you the truth. I think that other one should probably be 6-4 as well. Well, 5-3 maybe. 5-3. So yeah, it'll probably be like 5-3 availability maybe. Who knows? But yeah, recon tanks, as you can see, this has bad stealth, right? But the recon Bradley and the recon BMP2 have better stealth, even though they're arguably a lot more powerful than this unit. Arguably nothing, they are. Aerial recon includes the Alouette 2 and the new CL-289 fast recon UAV. So I believe the Brits also used this, or they used like the original, like the 89. Yeah, I think they used the 89. They used the 89. Midge. Okay. I already said that. Yeah, so the Brits also used this, but we don't get it. Okay, yeah, so it looks like the Brits used the CL-89. Okay. Whatever. So yeah, they get a drone, which is very, very useful. So this division is going to be very powerful, basically, if that wasn't already obvious. And what are we at? 0117 AA. This helps me with my editing. I do appreciate your patience with me writing those out. AA, an average category. The division had no dedicated AA battalions, only a few anti-air defensive companies organic to the brigadas. However, the Airborne and Mountain Jaeger had an impressive collection of single-barrel 20mm. These are the bad ones, by the way. So a few options, mostly light, but you can take a lot of them. So, yeah, basically, you know, in this game, there are some AA guns which are completely cracked, right? So if we look at damage calculator, so 20mm. That. 20mm, right, so then we need a 10-man squad, which would be Voltigeurs. I'm not just picking the French because I want to watch them die. But look, so this at 1200 meters range is going to take 101 seconds to kill him with a single barrel. If you use the Zwillinger, which 2nd Panzergren gets, now it's 43 seconds, so more than twice as good for having the extra barrel. So this is the OP one, and the other one is trash. It's the same, like, so like I've seen people in tournaments bring the Bofors, and I just start laughing basically. So, because look, 71 seconds, and that's the upgraded one, right? The TKS one is 107, whereas you know the ZU-23. Basically, there's like 2 classes of AA guns. Some are cracked and some are bad, and so instead of just bringing all of the cracked ones and the bad ones together by changing accuracy values, for example, they decide to, you know, spaz out. So as you can see, 54 seconds. So this is bad. And yeah, it's coming with the Cracker Transport Tractor, which apparently is bold because it's new, but I mean it's not. We've seen that. Although I suppose, yeah, because this is Cracker Munitions. And the regular Zwillinger 20mm, so there you go. So if you get, you can take a lot of them. So if you get 2 cards of this, you're sorted, right? That's your IFE, everybody dies, easy peasy. Self-propelled guns include the airlifted Cracker 20mm, which here it is, but it's only the single one, and the truck-mounted Unimog FK20. But it's not the Zwillinger, so it's the bad one. So that's going to be more like a Tarask. Because this is also a single one. And I believe it's actually the same gun, just in French service. I might be wrong. It's kind of hard to tell when it's just poking through the cab like that. But yeah, if you look at like the Tarask against the Grenadier Voltigeurs, 101 seconds because it's the single shot one. So it's going to be like this. It'll be like a Tarask, so it'll probably cost the same. It'll probably have identical stats. Might be a bit faster or slower or something. Might have slightly different HP. The only true spag is a single card of Gepard 1A1. So this is a really good spag. 80 points for... So being B does what for you exactly? B2? Apparently it's just Belgium. Okay. So yeah, it'll be this, which is very good. You're going to struggle against planes with all this. I've noticed there's no man pads. There you go. Fliegerfaust man pads. So, the Fliegerfaust, not really the best man pad ever, but it's been buffed a lot. It used to be a lot worse, actually. So it's actually got better anti-helo range than the damn Javelin, despite having way worse plane range. So it's actually not so bad against helicopters. And now that, you know, Apaches have 8 HP, you actually only have to hit them twice. The main issue is the accuracy, but you get loads of them, so you start vetting them. And the Uzi's not great, but yeah, whatever. Fliegerfaust, I mean, it's better than nothing. It's probably the best way to define it. Fliegerfaust, better than nothing. But really what you're going to be bringing is Gepards and as many Zwillingers as the game lets you bring. And then if you need a man pad, well, you've got a Zwillinger, right? Or you bring up a Gepard. Right, now we're in the helicopter tab. This one probably isn't going to take very long. Okay, that's, yeah, hopefully nobody saw that. 1, 22, 18. Helicopter tab, pretty mediocre. While the Gebirgsjäger had a large pool of utility helicopters for transport or airlifts, attack helicopters were nearly absent. A single card each of Bow 105, okay, whatever. I can't be bothered anymore. I've been doing this for an hour.
Bo minus 105 P.
So they call it the Bo.
1.
Okay. Anyway. So this is just very similar to like 2nd Panzergren, where you just, yeah, you get one of these and one of these, apparently. Although you can bring 2 here. Wow. So presumably there'll only be 2 slots here. Like MBAD, right? No, is it like Berlin Command that has that? Yes, so there you go. There'll probably be 2 points each, something like that. Air tab, pretty good. The first Luftlander Division has a large selection of new planes or loadouts. Let's start with the classics. The F4FHE2 and Tornado IDS Mega Waffle in ground pounding roles. So the F4FHE2 is very good. I should be on the 2nd Panzergrenadier here. It is very good because the big payload, coupled with the fact that it's a dive bomber and 30% ECM, means it usually gets out. It's also got ligmas on it if you need to shoot some helicopters while you're flying by. But yeah, the big payload and dive bomber means that it's actually really effective against heavy tanks. It tends not to one-shot the 3 top armor ones, but I've seen people bring them in flights of 2. The Mega Waffle's kind of crap, to tell you the truth. Really, I used to bring it, but it's really just for its meme potential. Basically, it goes and then it takes 6 minutes to reload, and it doesn't damage vehicles, and it dies because it has to fly like over the target like this, and it's not a dive bomber. It just flies over the target and it dies, and then it takes 6 minutes to reload if it doesn't die, and it doesn't damage vehicles, and it just damages infantry, and so it's like, well, what's the point? For the same price, I can get the other one, which might survive, reloads, more than twice as fast, 2 more sidewinders. The guns are better on the Mega Waffle, but the ECM's the same, speed similar. Right, I don't care about air optics on my Mega Waffle, and yeah, so yeah, it's just not good. It's more of a meme unit. Basically, they need to get that reload time down. That's all there is to it. Plus the new payload variant of the Alpha Jet A rocket with 72 SNEB rockets. So that's going to be this, but Alpha Jet mode, I guess. So Alpha Jet. So yeah, it's going to be the Alpha Jet frame, so 6 HP instead of 8, 10% ECM instead of 20, and 650 speed instead of 800, but it's going to have the Harrier guns, so it'll be a Mauser BK instead of the Aiden Mark IV, times 2, and it will have 72 SNEBs. So interesting, yeah. We'll see if it's 2 or 3 availability. It should be 3, really. But the Harrier rockets are all over the place. If the British divisions got nerfed by just like, so they actually took all the Harriers out of this. This used to have Harriers in it, and then the second UK ones had their availabilities go down. But this is okay. So this is still 3. The one with the Ligmas is 2. So it'll probably be 3 availability, right? Like other Alpha Jets. Because if you look at 152 easy, 3. So. As it happened, within the division's command area was located the WTD. How did they say that?
WTD.
Oh yeah, it's V, yeah. WTD. 61 Wehrtechnische Dienststelle. Dienststelle.
Wehrtechnische Dienststelle.
Wehrtechnische Dienststelle.
Wehrtechnische Dienststelle.
Right, anyway. Basically, they're saying, we're going to march to war a bunch of shit, here's the reason. Okay, I don't care. F4 LGBT with 2 GBU-12s. Great. They get an LGBT. That is a Harrier Alpha Jet. Okay, so skipping ahead here. F4F LGBT with 2 GBU-12s. Who's got GBU-12s? It's GBU-10. GBU-12, which is worse. What? 12 is a high number, though. What's going on there? Anyway, it's going to be like the one off 8th, not the one off TKS, apparently. So, I'm not sure how much of a difference this makes, really. It's got less boom, but it has more suppression. I'm not... Like, will this... the main advantage of these is that they drop 2 at once, so the heavy tank doesn't make it. Whereas this has 2, which will probably drop 1 at a time. We don't know. We could only assume. Like, this drops them 1 at a time. But the one on the right drops it 2, but it has 4. Right? So yeah, it'll be this. But on an F4F, so it'll have 30% ECM, and it'll be proper fast. So that is pretty lit, actually. That's going to be very powerful, right? 30% ECM, 1100 speed, 2 GBU-12, so 2 minutes reload time. Sounds good to me. And then my whole computer freezes. Oh, I love it. F4FAA2 with 4 AIM-9L Ligma improved, which is an equivalent to the American M variant. Developed by West Germany due to difficulties towards the USA's uncooperative attitude in correcting IRCCM deficiency in the form of missile. Alright, so it's an F4F. Right, so it's going to be another shotgun fighter, which I'm getting a bit sick of now. But basically, it's this, but with Ligma improved, which will be equivalent to the F-16A. Where are we? So it'll be the airframe on the right with the weapons of the left. Except 2 of each instead of 3 of each, right? So it'll have more range and more accuracy. So it is better. How much will it cost? No clue, mate. Probably about 230 points, I should think. Thinking, looking at that, might be 225 because the F4F kind of turns like a brick. Tornado IDS Seed with 2 harms, so that is the British one, right? Except Britain has Alarm. So it'll be like this kind of stats, right? Like, because the IDS is 30% ECM. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's basically the same, right? It's just, it'll be 10% more because it's seed. They always tend to be more. And then the harm is what I'm about to do if this deck review goes on for any longer. The harm is like the alarm, but better. So there you go. It's like the tornado seed, but better. And so it'll probably cost 280 points. But who knows, because... Oh, it's got the same number of missiles, right? So it might be... It'll be about there, about 270, 280, something like that. The Alpha Jet A Quiz was the planned upgrade for the whole Alpha Jet fleet, but the project was cancelled in 1988, and no such thing happens in our timeline. Good. I mean, this adherence, this TOE fascism, which is really the only way to describe it, is just absolute nonsense. As we've seen in the current conflict, as soon as the war starts, that all goes out the window and they just throw things together as fast as they can. This war has been going on for 3 years, but in-game it's like still day 1 or something. Anyway, so yeah, I like to see them make some rule bendiness, otherwise it's just boring, because the German army is boring. This is a March to War prototype with 20% ECM and 2 AIM-9 Ligmas plus 2 Mavericks, turning the Alpha Jet into a tiny multi-role strike aircraft. This plane will come in its specific Wuttered 61 test livery. So that sounds pretty lit, actually. I wonder if it'll be 2 or 3 availability. That's the big question. It'll probably be 2 if it's got flipping Mavericks. AGM-65B is the one off the Tornado IDSAT, right? Yes, so it'll be these. It'll be like sort of like an A10. I mean, it's kind of hard to describe, but I know what it's going to look like. It'll be the airframe on the left, but with the guns of the right. Not the Mauser BK-27x2. It'll still be a single one. But it'll have 2 Mavericks instead of 4, and it'll have 2 Ligmas, right? How much will it cost? Somewhere between 90 and 245 points, I suppose. And it'll be 20% ECM. Did it say anything about the speed? No. So that sounds really funny, especially if it's going to be like affordable. If it's below 130 points, you can buy 2 in a minute, and then here comes the plane, and then you send it out with the seed, right? Basically, the Ihawk's going to one-shot it, and then the Chaparral is going to one-shot it, and then you're going to get really upset, and then write messages underneath my YouTube videos talking about how unfair this game is. Lastly, the final plane in the Divisional Arsenal isn't a prototype, but still rare and new in-game. The HFB-320/ACM Electronic Warfare Unit.
HFB 320 ECM.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad there. I've learned a lot over the past 1.5 hours. Unarmed, this is the West German counterpart to the American Raven, being in essence a flying scrambler to mess with the radar of enemy air defenses. We introduced this particular plane as an option in a Nemesis 2.1 Hoff corridor, which never made the cut. This is never coming back. So much of this has ended up elsewhere. And felt sorry that it missed its opportunity to join Warno's arsenal. Consider this to be fixed. So there you go. So this is like the Raven, right? It's going to be like the Raven, apparently. Will it be as fast as the Raven? Probably not. Looks kind of big and dumb. But basically, this is absolutely useless. I'm not joking. It flies around and gives you ECM on your planes, and your planes get shot down anyway because you're unlucky. And then you're like, well, why didn't I just bring the Seed one, which would just fire missiles at the AA, which is a lot more useful than scrambling them and still getting shot. So that's what it is, right? It'll probably be about that price, probably about that stats. And it'll have this jammer thing, which makes some AA 20% less accurate. But this is bugged, by the way. It just does it for all AA. I'm pretty sure, at least it used to. Right, so this is the summary. Because I'll add my own summary. I won't just read out what they've written. I'm not a... Anyway. So, the Luftlander Division is a light battle group, very versatile, with its potent mix of airborne, mountain, and mechanized units. It lacks heavy armor, but makes up for this deficiency with great infantry, recon, and air categories. Basically, this sounds absolutely cracked. I think it's going to be really, really strong. Because in 1v1, in team, I mean, whatever, team doesn't matter. What am I saying? It will probably be decent in team as well if you take the town, if you fight over the town, right? The idea is you've got IFVs, which are powerful, right? And they're going to be like cheaper than your regular Marders. They're probably going to be worse, but they'll be cheaper. And you've got an airborne deployed component, which in 1v1 you don't need that many airborne units. They're really only useful at the start of the game. And then they're just a 5-point cost on everything. So you've got enough airborne units, you've got the FS Jaeger, which are alright, but the main thing is the where are we? Recon tab, the FS Jaeger B1 are just absolutely ridiculous. They're basically the only last advantage TKS had. Everything else has been taken from it, and now this will too. Hooray, fantastic. These guys are incredibly good at the start of the game. And then you back them up with your mega F4F AA2s, so because you don't have forward deployed AA, right? And then you've got loads of mountaineer infantry, which are like regular infantry but faster, and then big squads. So basically, you've got a really good forward deployed component, a very good forward deployed component, but without AA. Forward deployed AA, so you just buy a couple of fighters at the start in 1v1. You literally just buy 2 of those, and then you're going to win any fight. Unless they buy 3, in which case I'd be surprised. Anyway, then you've got regular infantry, which doesn't have the airborne tax, right? Because you've got airborne... I'm trying to think of like a good... so like terriers. I suppose these terriers are kind of different to the other terriers, but... You know, you're paying the airborne tax. They just cost more, and they're just not better. They're better because of shock and airborne, which is only important at the start. So, you know, so you don't have to pay the airborne tax for the rest of the game. You get really decent infantry, really good infantry. You get good artillery. 155s is what you need, and you get self-propelled 155s, so that's all good. Then you get a bunch of Leopard 1s, right? And you get Jaguar 2s to deal with enemy heavies. And you get the Lux, you get the Recon tanks, that's a very good forward deployment. You get drones, which are really, really useful for using your mobility and stuff. And Recon healers, so you can do funny things at the start. Your AA is kind of pants, let's face it, but the Gepard's alright, and the Fliegerfausts, I mean, the Zwillinger's really, really good against infantry, right? So that's more anti-infantry. Your AA is kind of weak outside of the anti-infantry role. The Gepard is... You're good against helicopters, basically. Against planes, you're going to struggle a bit, but then you've got these really good shotgun planes, which are really good. And then you've also got sort of meme strats, so like early game alpha jets, late game alpha jets, seed. So this is just... this jammer thing is just memey in it. So it's going to be a really, really good DLC division. It basically just makes TKS obsolete, which was kind of bad anyway. But basically, you know, I've been yapping. If you made it to the end, do let me know. Like, do you want me to go back and do some of these ones I didn't do? So, like, I did this one, I did this one. I did not do anything past that, I think. I think I did one Czechoslovakian one. And so I'm missing, like, 4. But that is, like, you know, 9 hours of footage. So, do you want 9 hours of me yapping? Do let me know. I'll do a poll, maybe. I don't know. Can't be bothered. Do let me know if you made it to the end. I'm very demotivated. I've been talking too long. Stay hydrated.